as well as seasoned, experienced lecturers. So I would start with a very generic term, understanding each and every one of you and how you need to understand my point of view. It's not that I am, trying to only target at audience who are newcomers, but also professionals. Because after having gone through a whole series of whatever experiences we have, suddenly we are at a crossroad and we need to start looking at life differently. So first, when we talk about what is personal, what is professional, before that, I'd like to ask you a few questions. I would suggest that if you have a paper and pencil, you can just write it down so that every answer is an eye-opener for you. You need not share the answers, but it is just a self-reflective, self-analysis program that I would be doing now. The first slide, please. So are you ready for a self-analysis? Because this is all about more of analyzing who you are without actually touching you personally. Next slide, please. And do you want to change? Because if we are resistant to change, nothing can happen. And if you're happy the way you are, please continue being so. But if you want to change, if you are somewhere not happy with the way things are going, then I think this session would help you out. Next slide, please. So let us start. Next slide. So the first question that I would ask each and every one of you, be it a professional, be it a newcomer, be it whatever level of experience you are in, who are you? The next few questions, you just answer to yourself, yes or no. Okay, next slide. Are you a professional? Because the meaning of this word professional is being misused. We are in a professional doesn't mean, just because we are in a profession, doesn't mean we are professional. Professionality means where we are objective, where we are focused on our job, where we don't get our personal life into it. But today I see, especially in the teaching community, because I come from there too, I'm the principal for a B.Ed college. So dealing and interacting with other faculty members, teacher training programs, I see that this professionality is missing. Whether you have it or not is something that you need to question, but you need to understand, are you a professional? Because a professional is not one who will bring in politics, not one who will bring in personal ideas, not one who will start, looking at other people in a very condescending manner. You can be competitive, but that does not mean you should show attitude in your work, because the work is more important than the people in it. That is professionalism, when we are focused on what we have come there to do. So when you're there to teach, when you're there to be an administrator, are you doing your job 100%? Is something that you need to ask yourself first. Next slide, please. Are you independent? Because being a psychologist, I also see that a lot of people are not independent, because independent means looking for answers from within. But most of us tend to look outside. We tend to listen to what others are saying. We tend to look at other people. So what's happening is we get influenced by others, but we don't actually use our own intelligence. And we don't really need intelligence. We need common sense. And that is what is lacking in most of the professionals today, because we are not independent. We don't use our common sense. I mean, it's a very generic term that I'm using. It is not that I'm telling everyone don't use their common sense, but a few people, in life, if you want to be successful, you don't need intelligence, you need common sense. How to live your life, just your basics. The next slide, are you self-reliant? Because being independent is again tagged with this point of self-reliance. How many of us are self-reliant? We tend to depend on somebody, your friends, your colleagues, your boss, your spouse. Somewhere you are not able to be someone from within, because who you are is most important. When we're talking about the pandemic today, I don't want to touch that topic till you start understanding who you are. because these are questions that nobody will ask you. We only give a big picture of portraying who we are, but who we are inside is different to who you are outside. Next slide, please. Are you a decision maker? Because here also, see, I do a brain analysis. So I understand that people who make decisions think they are making the decisions on their own, but the decisions is coming from auditory. They will listen to different suggestions and they will keep that in their mind. And based on that, they make their decisions. It is not that I myself decide what I need to do. It's that, do I have that clarity to make my decision? Sometimes that doesn't happen. So are you a good decision maker is something that you need to ask yourself as a professional. Next slide, please. Are you dedicated? Because we find somewhere along the line, we get used to a routine life, a mechanical life, and we lose our dedication, we lose our focus. We start looking at, colleagues, superiors, subordinates. We start getting into that political game, and we tend to lose focus on our job. Are we really dedicated towards our students? Why are we there? We're being paid a salary for the student. So how much are we actually catering to their requirements? Because I see most of the faculties, they tend to blame the management or the students, saying that, no, the students are not up to the mark. Now, what is a teacher? What is a faculty member? See, because I'm from the teacher training college, so that's my profession. So I'm very dedicated to tailor my content, tailor my teaching, tailoring my professional skills to the requirement of the student. So that's what I'm paid to do. So that dedication comes when you think about who is the end receiver of your skills and knowledge. So when you're dedicated, your focus will be on the student, whatever level he is. Because I see, when we do our teaching practice, we see that math teachers are on a higher level, whereas the math student is on a very low level. Now, this teacher, it's not important how great you are, but on how low you can come to in order to receive, to make the child receive whatever you are teaching. In the same way, for a faculty member, you cannot say that these have come from a rural background, lack of exposure, lack of knowledge, lack of whatever. You have to be dedicated enough to reach to their level. That is when you are a good faculty member. Next slide, please. And are you a hard worker? Because today we have all got used to being very smart. There are a few dedicated hard workers. Again, if you see, a hard worker is again a right brain person. So a person who is hard worker will always be a hard worker. A person who is a smart worker will always be a smart person. So hard work is necessary after smart work. Just blind hard work doesn't pay. But we need to focus and work hard at whatever we are not good at. Because we are good at something, we tend to become smart and we stop doing that basic hard work. And that also affects our professionalism. Next slide, please. Are you a logical thinker? Now, here again, some people, they're born with logic. Some people are born without logic. But just because you're not born with it does not mean that you can't train it. So being able to think logically, that is when you become a smart worker, where you start thinking logically. So what you need to do is take the situation which is out of control, put it on paper, break it up into smaller parts, attempt at achieving each and every small target you set for yourself, and then you can finish a big task. But if you are a logical thinker, most of the time you tend to get confused if you're not logical, and you tend to depend on others. So I don't know how many people I'm reaching this out to, but it'll make sense for people who really are not using logic because they don't have too much of logic and they tend to start depending on others. It is time as professionals that we need to first upgrade our skills before we think of even the pandemic. Pandemic is a different situation. But first, are you who you are? Do you love who you are? That's important. Next slide, please. So who are you? If you've answered yes to all these questions, then you don't need my session because you're already capable and good. You will not even feel the pandemic as a problem. But if people have written a no within yourselves, if you told yourself that there is a no to those answers, those questions, then you will feel stressed. Next slide, please. But if it is yes, you will have no stress, because if you're independent, self-reliant, focused, good decision maker, you will know how to accustom yourself to change. Next slide, please. So when we're looking at the basic question about stress, all of us are facing stress right now, whether you want to accept it or not, everybody is, because we don't like being tied down, locked in, whatever. So I've broken this being stressed out into three divisions. One is on the personal front as an individual, because if we are not strong as an individual, then how can we be strong as a professional? And at times of crisis, that is the pandemic, how are you going to deal with it? So the first question is first making yourself stronger, then making yourself professionally stronger, and third, dealing with the situation which could be out of our control. Next slide, please. So the first one, balancing personal life. Now, I want you all to go back into flashback and see, do you understand who you are? Are you happy being the way you are? Because who you are matters. Now, if you don't focus on yourself before the pandemic, then you're going to have issues. So if you were a happy person and you're not, and you're feeling stressed now, it is because of the situation. But if you were always feeling stressed because of maybe your job, then it is to do with your profession. But even before that, were you a stressed out person as an individual? Are you happy growing up, being who you are? Next slide, please. Invariably, our personal life is also related to our spouse. It could be male, female, because we have a cross section of people here. So invariably, when you're not happy with your marital relationship, with your sexual life, either the sexual life will come into your profession and your who you are, or the problems you have in life will show and reflect on your spouse. So having marital harmony is so important. But if you find that there is a problem there, then it's going to have a cascading effect over other areas of your life. Next slide, please. Parents are another big issue that is a problem for most of us. One, because parents are aging, you have to take care of them, the responsibility. Again, you have to balance your life with your parents. Invariably, parents are different to what you are. Then you have your wife or husband, the spouse, who is interacting with them. Today, most of the divorce cases or marital disharmony cases are all to do with in-laws, either the boy or the girl. So as a professional, you would also have challenges with your in-laws or your parents, and your spouse with her in-laws and her parents. So dealing with elders in the house or connected to you is also a big challenge today. See, I'm just giving you different areas where you can understand where you are having stress. So you can note down those points. I'm having a problem with my parents. I'm having a problem with my spouse. I'm having a problem with myself. Siblings is another very important issue, though they don't reflect so much when you grow up in life. When you are younger, we have sibling rivalry, jealousy, fight, we do whatever. Or we're totally in love with them and we can't separate from them. But after marriage, because all of y'all, I'm sure, must be married or on the verge of marrying or divorced. I mean, there are different types of people here. But siblings do affect us, because if at this point where you're a professional and you find your siblings doing better than you or worse than you, this will also take a toll on you in your life and your perspective of life. Next slide, please. Children. I'm sure most of you are married and have children. This is, again, no doubt a challenge. Parenting itself is a big challenge. And when you are trying to balance yourself, your life, and give another child a life, is a big challenge for everyone. So it's not just for you. And if you have two or more children, then sibling rivalry, balancing both of the children is also a big issue. Next slide, please. Now, when we look, that was till now, I wanted you to focus on your personal life. Now, when we look at the professional life, where could the stress come from? So it could be work as such. Next slide. It could be because you're having problems with your superiors, with the management, with the principal, whoever on the higher level. So when people from above are putting pressure on you, you tend to feel that pressure, and there tends to be stress because you see no two people are the same. So when I think one thing and you think something else, naturally there's going to be a clash. But when it is a boss, you're forced to accept it. But sometimes the boss could be giving stupid decisions, or the boss could be very intelligent but showing you how uh, stupid or wrong that you can be in your decision making. So there will be a lot of disparities in thought processes, and the boss, because of his superiority, could be giving pressure to us. Next slide. Colleagues. See, I'm trying to make you understand where your stress is coming from. You need to first analyze.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, now it's okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next slide, please. Another big area that, I think maybe most of us don't see, once we get our degree and we get a job, we stop looking at our skills and knowledge. We must constantly be growing. We need to upgrade our knowledge. We need to upgrade our skills, especially today with students coming in. They are very critical in their thinking. They're very different in their very ideas and in their thoughts. They have access to internet, so we cannot go into the old way of teaching. Now we have to transform. Thanks to the pandemic, at least today, everybody is technology oriented. But just because you're technology oriented, again, we have not changed the way of teaching. We've continued that with the basic lecture method through the technology. But I feel that, we need to change the way we present information, change the way we are. You need to facilitate thinking in the children rather than giving information. This is something that, especially in the college lecturer faculty level, this is more so, because at least at school level, we are trained to teach differently, and we're trained to have different methods of teaching. But when it comes to colleges, we are still stuck in the lecture method, which could be a challenge to the student, because the student hates those boring lectures. They don't want to listen to people. They want everything fast. They don't want this droning, moaning lecture method. So we have to face it, that we need to change professionally. We need to change the skill, the way in which we are teaching, the way in which we are reaching out to the student. And we need to upgrade our knowledge, because we are teaching from a textbook, from a curriculum which is outdated. So today when the child comes in with a new concept, you'll say that's not in the syllabus, because you're not equipped to deal with that kind of information. So it is a challenge. Upgrading your skills and knowledge is a big challenge, especially for the seniors, because they are the ones who are resistant to change. Those who are younger will sort of, gel with the younger generation. But as you become more experienced, this becomes a big challenge. Next slide, please. The workload. You have to understand how much of work are you really doing, because some of us feel strained for very less workload, and some of us will be doing a lot of workload but will be burning out. So how much of workload can you take comfortably? How much more energy do you have? how much more effort can you put in? Because sometimes most of us are not given that kind of workload. It's just that we are so sensitive to having less workload, you can't take more workload. And you'll say, for this salary, I think this is enough. But salary aside, work has to be worshipped. And that is when you're a true professional. So you need to be asking for more work, or you need not just the quantity, but also the quality of the work should change. Next slide, please. So we've dealt with the personal aspect of where stress can come from. We've just touched on what are the professional aspects that we could feel stressed on. The third aspect that we have is the pandemic that we are all going through right now. So we all understand, one, we are cut off. We cannot move around freely. Our mouth is masked. So we all love to blabber, and that blabbering, when it reduces, starts becoming a big toll, because, our expression itself is being curbed in. So all of us, it's not just one or two, but every one of us all over the world are facing stress because of the pandemic. Next slide, please. So the stress could come from so many issues, but actually pandemic should come only when you worry about the present and the future. But what I have addressed so far is about the past, because there is something called the past, which we are carrying with us, something about the present, which we are dealing with, and something about the future, which we are expecting to happen, which may happen, may not happen. So we need to divide our stress based on these three categories. So till now, I have dealt with the past. But now when you look at actually the pandemic, one, the financial stress, because, most of us may not be getting our salary on time. Normally only we don't get salary on time. I mean, not me, but I'm just trying to, include myself in the group. Salary doesn't come on time. The salary is deducted now because of the pandemic. There are no students and no source of revenue. Then you have your expenditure, which is increasing a lot. So, with the less money, and your needs are increasing in the house, because everybody is at home. So everybody is more hungry. Everybody needs more pastime. Everybody needs more games. You're spending more on internet. You're spending more on, the children's requirements. You're sitting in the house. Definitely there'll be too much of noise. Till now, you all came away to college. So what happened at home, you wouldn't know. But now sitting in that house and, looking at all this, everything is stress. Your physical stress, your financial stress. Okay, economic crisis is there. Psychologically also, you're facing a lot of stress, wondering, what is happening to me. People are just feeling anxiety for no reason. I have so many cases coming up with anxiety. Why are you anxious? No reason. It's just that feeling of dread. What will happen? What will happen? So the stress about the future, how will life be? If this is the way it will go, how long will this go? Because the stress is also because of our personal life, right? We don't have parties, we don't have friends, we don't going anywhere. Of course, if you look at Kakinada, I don't know about other places, but if I look at Kakinada, it seems everybody is totally ignorant about the pandemic. Some of them wear the mask, but the mask will be below the nose. Some of them, they hold the mask in their hand. They talk first. When they're talking, they'll remove their mask and talk. So, all these unhygienic sort of ways in which they are trying to be who they are, but, they cannot contain themselves to be behind that mask. That itself is taking a toll. Next slide, please. And all of us are worried about the future. What will happen? What if the second round comes, third round of the pandemic comes, what? What about the education? How is it going to change? Will I have my job? Am I going to be removed from my job? Will technology take over? Will students join? What about the education system? What about my future financial crisis? What about if I get the pandemic, if I get corona positive, what about the people at home? Today the medical bills also, people are paying something like 3 lakhs, 6 lakhs for just a visit to the hospital and back. So, that is also a financial strain on people. And so there is a lot of unpredictability, and this is increasing the anxiety in each and every person. Next slide, please. And this is not that you can be angry with somebody and say, because of this person, we are in this situation, because we all love blame game. We love to point a finger. We like to be judgmental. But here, who can you curse? Are you going to curse God, or are you going to curse China? Or are you going to curse somebody else? There's nothing we can do. We don't know for a fact where the cause of the problem started. But all of us are feeling. Next slide. So when I'm trying to deal with these three areas, please. Now, when we're looking at stress, because mainly the session is about how to deal with this kind of stress that we are going through, we need to understand who we are. Where did this all begin? Because if you understand genes, each one of us are unique. Our brain is unique. We are unique. Now, where did this come from? This comes from your genetics. So when you're in the mother's womb, that is where your brain develops. You are who you are based on the production or the factory where you were manufactured, and that is the mother's womb. And what kind of qualities do you get? You get what your parents have given you, the genes from your mother and your father. And then how did they parent you? How did they take care of you in your early years? How did you grow up? What are the kind of relationships you had? What are the experiences you have had in your life? Were they good? Were they bad? All this make you who you are. So no matter what the situation is outside, first we need to reflect on who we are. Why are we the way we are? Next slide, please. So I have done, my basic area of research now is about the brain design, because I do a fingerprint analysis. And through the fingerprint, I am able to analyze your brain, why it is designed like this, how it is designed, and how you can change the way you look at the problem only when you understand how you are looking at the problem. So your brain design is different. So what you feel as stress would be different to how I look at it. So my opinion will be like for example, I'll say, the dress you're wearing is horrible. Now you would have loved the dress, you would have bought it in the shop because you loved it. But when I say I don't like your dress, immediately you will start looking at, why is my dress not good? Oh, maybe it's not nice. Maybe I need not wear this again. But please remember, I don't like your dress, but you like your dress. So don't get influenced by my perception, because your perception is right for you. My perception is right for me. And I perceive based on my brain. And my brain is designed when I am in the mother's womb. Next slide, please. And as parenting plays a major, major role, especially for all the parents in this group, you need to understand you are a product of your parents' genes and parenting. Mother is different gene, father is a different gene. What the child gets is again a different combination of genes. So if you really see in this triangle, all are unique. So when a husband and a wife are looking and taking care of the child, invariably, they will have differences of opinion. A husband and a wife are two different people, two different brains, two different perceptions. Today, why are we having fights? Why are we having marital issues? Because we don't get along, because I am different, you are different. Then you get a child. Now, our differences are there, and then you have your child who you're looking at and saying, no, this child has to be brought up like this. And then the wife will say, no, the child has to be brought up like this. So in disciplining also, there is a triangle. And so there will be differences, clashes. It is very good if you have a perfect parenting, perfect family. But invariably, in my experience, I know that in any family, there are differences. There will be some amount of dysfunction. So parenting plays a very important role in making you who you are. Next slide, please. The experiences that we have from childhood till today, we have a lot of experiences, positive, negative. If the positives are more, we tend to be empowered. If there are more amount of negative experiences, we tend to feel disempowered. But you need to understand is how you are looking at the problem itself is based on your brain design. So if you say my childhood was very traumatic, it is because maybe you were looking at it critically. So it is your perspective that is changing the same situation. If your own sibling doesn't feel that that situation is a problem in the same environment, but you are finding it a problem. So it is how you are looking at a situation, and your experiences are influenced by your brain design. Please understand this, because if you understand this, you'll realize there is no one true answer. There is no right and wrong, because everything is subjective. Everything is about perspectives. Next slide, please. So you need to ask this question, who am I? And that this is something that you have to retrospect and look within yourself. What I do, I scan the 10 fingers and tell you exactly who you are. But in this situation, since that's not possible for this big crowd, big set of audience, I would say you look within yourself and what can I do? Make a list, take a piece of paper and write it. What are my capabilities? What am I good at? What are my potentialities? What are my good strong points? What is it that only I can do? What are my strengths? You need to make a list of it to really empower yourself. Because we all talk about, yes, I'm great, but what are you great at? What makes you special? What are you better at than the other person? That is the turning point. So if you know what your strengths are, then you can work on only your strength to take you to the top. And you should also be aware of what can I not do. A lot of people do not accept their deficiencies, their weakness, their incapacities, their pain points. So they tend to cover up. So the minute they start covering up, what happens? The ego comes in. And once ego comes in, you're just blind, stubborn, and stupid. So we need to now understand what I can do, what I can't do. If you know this itself, you're strong. Because a lot of us feel I am strong in every way. And some people feel I'm weak in every way. I can do nothing. It's like, 0 to 100 kind of a difference of thought process. And the third point, what do I want? What are my expectations? If you have answers to these three questions, your life is made. Because what can I do? Most of us don't think about it. What can't I do? We tend to push it away. And what do I want? We don't have clarity. Because what I want is based on the expectations other people have of me. My mother wants this, my wife wants this, my child wants this, somebody else, my colleagues are saying this. So when you're influenced by somebody else, then where am I? So I am the most important person in my life. And if I don't know who I am, I'm born and I die being totally unaware of what actually I had. God has given me, karma has given me, I have a lot of potential. Now, have I used this potential in this lifetime? I don't know about my previous birth or the next birth, but in this birth, with this potentialities, have I used my capabilities to the maximum? That is important. Next slide, please. One question that we ask now is, who am I? The next question you have to ask is, who are they? Because after you understand about yourself, this is the most important person, then you look at others. What do they want from me? So what do they want me to do? So these are all about expectations of others about me. So all the time, if I'm going to just live in the constant thought of they want me to do this, they are angry if I don't do this, I should do this, otherwise my colleagues will get angry, my boss will get angry, my wife will get angry, then all your life you are going to only base your life on expectations from others and not from yourself. So you're not living your life for yourself, but for others. And the third slide. What is the situation? So what is expected of me at home or in the profession? How can I fulfill all the expectations based on the situation? And what are my liabilities? Because today the situation is the pandemic. So in this pandemic, How am I going to fulfill my expectations, others' expectations? So what can I do, what I can't do? So these three factors, next slide, please. So you need to look at this basic analysis about one, is the stress coming from yourself? Is the stress coming from people, they? Or is the stress coming from it? That is either be it your job or be it the pandemic, the situation, or any crisis situation that you're going through right now. You need to divide these three. All of us tend to club these three and feel stressed out. Am I the problem? Are they the problem? Or is the situation the problem? If you understand the difference between the three, we will have more clarity about why we are facing stress. Anxiety has become so common. I'm worried, I'm tense, I'm depressed. These are words that people use. But if you know why you're depressed, you know why you're feeling this anxiety, then solution comes very easily. Because I believe diagnosis is treatment. If you know what your problem is, you will know how to solve it. But most of us don't even know what our problem is. Next slide, please. So you have to understand, what do I want? Because I am the heroine or hero of my life. Is it achievable? Because whatever I want, can I do it? Is it idealistic? Am I dreaming about it? Or is it achievable? How do I achieve it? If you focus on what are the steps in order to reach that goal or target I've set for myself, have I planned properly how I need to go up that ladder? And after I have planned it, have I executed it? If you can just make note of this, any problem in life, if you put it across like this, it will be very clear. So first is identifying. This is just like a researcher, right? Your research hypothesis. So what do I want? You must have clarity what your destination is. What is your focus? What do you want? If you don't have clarity, then you have anxiety. Because you're just having general problems, generalized anxiety. Everything is a problem. But where is the actual problem? You have to touch that pain point. You have to identify what is the problem that I am facing. So what do I want? Is it achievable? Because sometimes we have grandiose thoughts, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's just physically impossible. And how to achieve it? There is a way. So what you need to do is, when you draw a diagram, you draw yourself down here and you put your goal there. And then you draw steps to this goal and you timeline it. Okay, so the time that I take from here to go there, you draw the direction, the time, and then each step, what is the goal that you have to set for small goals to reach the bigger goal. If you just understand how to draw this ladder up to your goal, you are perfect in your planning. After you plan, you have to execute it. If it is not executable, it means that your planning is wrong. So when you do this for every small problem, then you realize you can duplicate it to every problem that you face in life. So all you have to do is draw one, take a piece of paper. Where are you? Where do you want to go? How do you want to go about it? In what direction? How much time? In what steps? There's absolutely no problem. So here, when after you complete that, you need to understand, are you successful or not? Every problem that you identify, you earmark yourself, you focus and see the result. Don't just leave it in midair and say, oh, I'm unlucky person, I'm very bad, or I'm always super success. You need to evaluate how many steps did you get right, how many steps did you get wrong, and were you a success or were you a failure? Next slide, please. This is very, very important. Learning during the pandemic. If you see, there are three things. If you see the last line of this slide, past, present, and future. Most of our problems are because we are worrying about the future. If it is about the past, We are always in sorrow. We cry, we regret our past. If you have anxiety because of your past, it's mainly because of sorrow. If you are living in the present, you're mentally healthy because you're facing each and every problem. But if you're worried about the future, it is only worry because it is only expectations, a probability. It's not a certainty. So if you know how to divide your thought process into, are you in the past? It is over. You're carrying baggage. Are you in the present, which is good because you're mentally healthy, trying to solve your present problem? Or are you in the future? You're worried about something that may not happen. So why are you messing up your present? So if every person lives in the present, there will be no issues. Face the problem when it comes, let go of the past. You understand these two words, you're done. Let go of the past, face your problems as they come. Don't predict what will happen in the future. So this last line is so important. Most of the anxiety cases today, especially in the pandemic, is because we are not focusing on the present. Now, this session need not just be for the faculty members, but also for the people in their house. So suppose you have old people or maybe your spouse, they're always complaining. So you are mentally strong, but they are bringing you down. So what you need to do is tell them to be in the present. So what are you doing from when you get up to when you sleep? If you really put a timetable about what you do the whole day, you'll find there are a lot of gaps. In those gaps, we need to either fill it with good activity, empowering activity, or we need to do something which is mechanical, like washing vessels, cleaning the house, sweeping, swabbing, dusting. These are also mechanical jobs where you put some music and keep doing some tasks where your mind doesn't go to the past or the future, but it's in the present, doing something, and mind is being diverted with music. There is no better treatment than that. You don't need medicines in your life. This itself, if you follow this basic advice, you will not have any stress. If you look at the point above that, from the second last point, it's about wants. Understanding about wants and needs. Our wants are unlimited. We will want everything under the sun. You finish one want, you'll want another. But what are your needs? I think the pandemic has taught us that we need to live on our needs. You're feeling hungry? That's a need. It's a physiological drive. So you're only spending on basic food and not thinking about, shall I go to this restaurant, that restaurant? If you want entertainment, you have TV in the house. You don't need to go to a cinema theater. So all our needs, which are limited to survive. So we are learning in the pandemic. Pandemic is not bad. It has taught us a lot of things. It has taught us the value of family. It has taught us the value of limiting our expenditure. Even if you're getting a less salary, it means that you don't need to spend so much because you're not going anywhere. You don't need clothes. You don't need slippers. You don't need, your wallet. You don't need to go for parties. You don't need to eat out, movies, shopping. Everything has reduced. So in a way, it's good. But our wants are unlimited, and all of us are only looking at our wants. And we say, I want this, I want that. We want everything under the sun. But if you learn how to live in the basic minimal, you find there is pleasure even in that. But most of us feel restricted because of this pandemic. You look at the third last point or the middle point, thoughts. See, these thoughts are automatic. All of us in our brain, the thought just happens based on the brain design that you have. So there could be thoughts which are useless and there could be thoughts which are useful. I suggest that anyone, whenever you have any thought that comes to your mind, immediately think, is it useful? Is it useful? Useless? Useful. Because you understand that in your brain, most of the thoughts, which when you're worrying, most of the thoughts are useless thoughts. We hardly have useful thoughts. Because if we have useful thoughts, we'll be productive. We will be successful. Pandemic is such a beautiful time for you to upgrade your knowledge, upgrade your skills, work on presentation, plan your lessons better. Plan PPTs where you can make your students think and interact with you, where it's a two-way communication. How can you change your teaching style? We're not working on upgrading our knowledge and skill. We're only sitting and worrying about when is this pandemic going to get over. This is a perfect time. It's a rest break for all of us, the whole life, where we're reducing pollution, we're reducing expenditure, we're learning to give importance to our family, and we have to learn how to upgrade ourselves, which we are not doing normally in the rat race that we run every day. If you come to the second point from the top, acceptance versus expectation. Most of our stress is because of expectation. I'm expecting something, be it from your spouse, be it from your parents, be it from your colleagues, be it from your boss. You're always expecting, I wish he will do this, I wish they will do this, I wish they will do this. So all our problems come with this expectation. Suppose you accept people and you say, this is the way they are, then where is the problem? Because acceptance is happiness. When you accept people the way they are, I cannot change my brain. Where can I change your brain? But we are always in this situation of trying to change another person's mindset. And the first most important point, fact versus fiction. In our lives, actually, I did this for a Rotary meeting, and that's why this point stuck in my mind, which is so important today. When we worry about so many different things and have stress, you have to discriminate between, is that stress that you're feeling a fact? Is it real? Or is it fiction? Is it imaginary? And this fiction is also created by, what somebody will say, oh, tomorrow, I don't know what will happen. This will happen, that will happen. Someone will put it in your ear. This will work in your brain. And you will create one fictitious story in your head, but it's not actual reality. So if everyone can understand the difference between fact and fiction, can learn to accept rather than expect, learn to have useful thoughts rather than useless thoughts, learn to focus on needs rather than on wants, focus only on the present, not on the past or the future, we will not face any stress. Next slide, please. If you see, it's not that I'm trying to show off, but from when I was born till today, I have always been upgrading my knowledge, my skills, my degrees. The degrees are very easy to get because in India, you find that getting through any exam is very, very easy. So if you know how to learn any exam, one night batting, and I'm through. I'm with the first class. So I don't think our education is allowing us to, really think about a different style of presentation, but just about taking in information and putting it on paper. And I'm good at that. I'm good at expression. So I just pick up a degree. Even law, I have finished very easily. All one night, just the night before I turn the book, next morning, I write the exam first class. So why I'm telling you this is that as you keep empowering yourself, you may have low confidence, but the more amount of achievement that you keep doing, your confidence starts getting boosted. Next slide, please. That's also a little more of what I've done. So if you look at my resume, it's so many pages. But why is it so many pages? It's because every time I look at those so many pages, I remember my flashback. I remember what a lot of experiences I have had in life. And that is what a faculty should have. An FDP program is about how you need to develop yourself. It's not about the rest of the world. It's only about me. What have I done for myself? If you don't do for yourself, who is going to give it to you? So it's all about self-effort, hard work, dedication. That is a true professional. Next slide, please. All of us have dreams and all of us want to achieve our dreams. But in that process, because we look around, we tend to get influenced by other people. And because we are influenced by other people, you feel they are better than me. So immediately what will happen? I will limit myself. Please understand, every brain, trust me, I'm talking about practically every brain can be a success. I call myself a success strategist. If you go to 2 slides back. Yeah, if you see there about me, just below that, I have given my name success strategist. There is no position like that. I'm actually a psychologist, PhD psychology, PhD education, masters in law. I can put all that there. But if I talk about legal, people will get put off. If I talk about only education, other people won't come to me. If I talk about a psychologist, people will say, am I mental? No, I don't have a problem. Because the psychology itself is a taboo. Is something wrong with me? Am I mental? Am I something? So that word psychology itself is putting people off. So I thought, being in Kakinada, I've come from Bangalore. So coming here, trying to make life a success is very tough. And language was a problem. So I worked on myself because there, everything that I have, I can just work and grow up. But here I came down again, and then I came up. Because that success strategist is all about any brain and how they can reach from where they are to where they want to be. And I believe that everyone is capable of going where you want to go. But you should plan, you should be persistent. So that is what is a success strategist. Luckily in my journey of experiences and knowledge and skills, along with having the double PhD, I started working on this fingerprint pattern, dermatoglyphics. So when I take these 10 fingerprints, I'm able to know exactly who you are, your design, and that is the way you think from when you're born to when you die. So all my PhDs are of no use now because for me, dermatoglyphics has taken a predominant role in my life. So thanks to pandemic, I've written a book, I've created a course, a self-analysis course on this. So I want people to know who they are and get stronger. And I want this to go to the whole world. So if you go to the last slide, achieve your dreams at 56. A lot of people say I'm close to retirement, but I feel I've just started out on my dream because till today I didn't know who I was. The past 6 years I worked on dermatoglyphics. I knew who I am, but now I want to be something else. So I have that big dream. I don't know if I can reach it, but I am with a constant thought that I will achieve my dream and I will achieve it in this lifetime. And my whole work is only on making that dream come true because I want everyone to know about their brain design because all of us need to be mentally healthy. To be mentally healthy, you have to be happy. In order to be happy, you have to know what is your brain design, how you are designed. And if you know your design, then how you need to work on it. Then there is no unhappiness. There is no mental ill health because everybody is happy being who they are, not what others want of them. And that's my life, trying to make people happy, make people realize who they are. That's my journey, and I will achieve my dreams. And I hope that all of you will achieve your dreams. I'm really thankful for having been given this opportunity. I'm open for any questions. Thank you.
Participants are requested to ask if you have any questions, please. Ramakrishna sir.
Do I have more time?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Till what time?
Actually, the session is for 2 hours.
मुंह का मारा बासी मुंह का मुंह पे
तो सीधा पकड़ो तुम फोन अरे उल्टा पकड़े
Participants are requested to ask if you have any questions. Check, ma'am, whether there are any questions in the chat. No.
There are 43 participants.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
each one can just give, since we have another 1 hour more,
प्लीज
I think it would be nice to have interactive session on your, it doesn't mean that you need to have any problem, but you can share your views, your thoughts. What was my presentation? Did you like it, not like it? What did you not like? Does it apply to you? Does it not apply to you? We can just have
सही
discussion.
में मर जाना नेता है
We can give everyone 2 minutes to talk.
तुम क्या कर रहे होंगे
1 minute, ma'am.
Sir, I'm Dr. Gautam Prasad. May I ask a question, ma'am? No.
Indumati, ma'am. Indumati, madam.
See, I
Indumati,
suggest
madam.
you mention names and ask each one to talk. Then, because in India we have a problem with the, starting problem. So,
Yes, ma'am.
being faculty,
Indumati
I think
ma'am has
everybody
some
needs to talk.
one question. It's, ma'am, you can unmute yourself and you can talk, ma'am. Indumati ma'am.
Indumati can talk.
Ma'am, let me read out the question what ma'am has put, ma'am, here. How to tackle multiple tasks at a time without tension?
Yeah, because she's a woman, multiple tasks is handled very easily, but she has to tell me what are the multiple tasks. So she has to talk.
Indumati ma'am, please unmute yourself. Let me unmute.
Yes, madam, Indumati. See, all of us have some reservations with regard to speaking, but being faculty members, we need to talk.
I asked
Hello.
ma'am to. Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Amarnath Sharma.
Please, sir.
Amarnath Sharma. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, ma'am, we have continuously facing some situations like we have to speak lies in our profession.
Yes.
In that situation, what should we do? Even it is a not favorable for the society, but we have to speak lies regarding to our duties or things surroundings.
Yes.
Then what should we do, ma'am?
See, here I think ethics are very important, but is the lies something that the management is making you do, or is it something that is your personal decision?
Sometimes it from management side it requires. Then what should we do?
See, then if you're a professional, you have to follow, otherwise you don't have a job.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
See, you cannot make decisions. No, see, the management is the one who's going to face the repercussions of everything.
Okay.
So you don't need to say that the decision or the lies was your decision, but this you are only implementing what the management wants you to do. You understand, the perspective changes.
So
You are
at that moment, ethics may not follow, ma'am.
Pardon?
At that moment, the ethics may not follow, ma'am. At that moment, ethics may not be followed, ma'am.
See, ethic is, again, I'm telling you, you are a professional, right? So when you're working in an organization under a boss, unless he's asking you to go and rape somebody, that is wrong.
Okay, ma'am.
But the management is telling you these are the rules of the college and you have to follow it.
Okay, ma'am.
So either you quit the job or you follow it. Which would be better?
It depends on again my ethics, right, ma'am?
No, then you're out of a job, because if you're too ethical also, it doesn't happen in today's world. See, as a principal for B.Ed college, there are a lot of lies we tell when there is inspection.
That's why I'm asking, ma'am, because I
Yes,
keep
and I'm
listening all those
also
things because you are
I'm also a
speaking in
person
a
who says-
broadly. That's why I'm asking, ma'am.
Yeah, see, even I'm a person who says I am against corruption. But when you have to get a college through, there are some formalities that you have to pay. Then what do? Do you sacrifice your college for your ethics? Then you'll be sitting in your house.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that you cannot escape, but that is not lies. That is your karma. That is the karma of the college.
Yes, ma'am.
You are,
Okay, thank you.
not a puppet in that whole drama. If you tell lies, then that's your karma.
Yeah, okay.
So if it is the management, follow it, because there's nothing, and you can't tell people that I want this wrong to happen. This is the management's orders, please follow it. There's a way of presenting that also.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am, this is Dr. Gautam Prasad.
Gautam Prasad, yeah.
I have a question, ma'am. Actually, you mentioned a point that we are paying for the sake of students. What we are paying for the when we go to class.
Your voice is not clear.
Your voice is not clear, sir.
only when we go to class, maybe it is the first class or in other classes, or maybe the students will be in our
Sir,
so how
excuse me,
to
sir.
bring them to hello.
Voice is
Hello,
not
yes.
clear, sir.
Voice.
Is it clear, sir?
No,
Is
sir.
it clear, sir? No?
No. It's breaking.
Hello,
Yes.
Madam. This is Dr. Y. Ramakrishna, coordinator.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah. Tell me.
Hello,
Madam.
is it
Actually,
clear, sir? No.
No, sir. It's not clear, sir.
Okay.
hello, Vijayalakshmi, madam.
Yes.
This is Ramakrishna, the coordinator
Yeah.
of this program.
Okay.
Actually, we have planned for this session. We have planned the session for 2 hours, madam.
Okay.
Now it is only 11 o'clock. Can you talk about some other topic?
No, Mr. Ramakrishna. This is the problem with that. We tend
Tell me,
to
madam.
only have a one-day there is more interaction with everybody. Let us take 1 hour. We have 40 participants, right? Hello?
Ma'am, it seems sir has some problem with the mic, ma'am. Yeah, so participants, please have questions. Ma'am? Hello, ma'am?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me answer Indumati's question.
Yes, ma'am.
Multiple tasks, how do you tackle, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So all of us have multiple tasks ahead of us, and the answer there is planning. So is Indumati listening? Just type a yes if it is yes in the chat box. Indumati is listening.
Indumati, ma'am, are you there? You please type S in the chat box. If you are there, you please type.
Because the question I have to connect, right? I have to know exactly what she's saying.
Indumati, ma'am? No answer, madam.
No answer. Okay. I'd like to share something else to this group. Our system of education is where teaching means it is only a one-way speaking. So we love to listen, and we have been trained from childhood only to be listening. We are all the time receiving. But when do you have clarity of thought is when you express. But people don't express for fear that people will condemn them, people will laugh at them, people won't respect their words, whatever. But unless you have that strength from within to accept failure, but you talk no matter what, but express. Over a period of time, as you keep expressing, you tend to get free. And then you are an orator. Because if you are a faculty member and you're not able to express, if there are 40 people here, 40 can just give a small one-line sentence. But if there is a doubt and you're asking me to talk again, I am also adding to the present education system where I can talk for hours together. I have no issues. I can talk for hours together on any topic you give me. But if there is an important need where you reciprocate. Okay. Jyotsna Bhagiriti is asking how to control anger. Great. I'll talk to that after I finish with Indumati's question. When you have multiple tasks to do, first and foremost important point is that we write down all the tasks we need to do. Please do not keep it in your brain, because all of us have super brains. So we tend to put it in our brain and think, okay, I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this. So what happens is that all this is the load on the brain. So if your brain has to be happy, let these thoughts come onto paper. Once you write down, suppose you have 10 tasks to do, write down the 10 tasks. Then you put them in the order of priority. Which is the most important that has to be done immediately, and which is the least that can be done later on. So you number it. Then you reorganize it in such a way that you have most important to least important. Then take only the first point, first priority. Work on it. Work on it till it is a success. Do everything that you can do to finish the task. And if you have to wait for results, wait, leave it. Go to the next task. Do all that you can do, go to the third. So what happens is that you are doing it in a systematic order, because women are generally said to be multitaskers. We can, put something on the stove, watch something on the TV, feed our children, give the husband's clothes and do everything. But that is all just blind hard work. But if you want to be smarter, then you need to know what to do when. Put it in an order and checklist it as you go. This is the easiest way to achieve any task, rather than keep the task in the head. That becomes an issue. See, my best friend is my paper. A paper and a pen solves all your problems. You don't need to worry about, your friend, will she go leak the story out, whatever problems I have. So whenever you have any issue, take a piece of paper, write it down. If you want, after that, tear up that paper. But write it down so that this thought, the brain, is removed of some tension. Once you remove the tension from the brain and it is in front of you, this brain gets free. Now your brain can work in optimization only when it is more relaxed, when it has only one focus, when it doesn't have too many. But women, what happens is that they cannot relax till all the work is done. This is another problem. A man will say, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, and he'll watch TV. A woman has to finish all 10 tasks and then only sit and watch TV. She'd rather sacrifice the TV for the 10 tasks. So there is a difference between a man's brain, a woman's brain. And if you look at Indumati, she's trying to pack up too much, where she's becoming the victim. Please remember, if you are the victim, if you are at the end where you're only doing the hard work, then that is stupid work. So you need to know how to divide and delegate the task. Are the 10 tasks or multiple tasks to be done only by you? Or can you delegate? It's very important to delegate, even at home. The woman is the one who, lay the table, put the glasses, put the vessels, put the curries, then wash it up, cook. Everything is done by the woman. What the mother needs to do is tell the husband, fill the bottles of water, the children, put the plates on the table. Please take this and put it there. If you divide and schedule the duty, that same one work, multiple tasks which she is doing herself, can be delegated to different people. The work becomes easier. So unless Indumati talks, I won't know what exactly the multiple tasks are. But generally, paper pencil is one, delegation is another, which would solve.
Hello, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what you said for women is very good, ma'am. But coming to gents' point of view, the tasks are coming at the moment, ma'am, because you told that before you have to write on the paper, but we are getting on WhatsApps. The works are coming at the instant. In that situation, how we can handle it?
Great.
Can you give some tips, ma'am?
Now, are you given one task at a time or 10 tasks at one time?
Definitely, ma'am. We'll get 10 tasks, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
Because nowadays the sharing information, WhatsApp is there. We'll just dropping their task. So do this, do this, do this. In that situation, what should we do, ma'am?
Okay. So when you have 10 tasks, again, simple, just prioritize that. What has to be done immediately?
Everything will be immediate, ma'am.
No. You're not Superman.
That's why we, yes, ma'am.
So
that's why we will get, ma'am, messages. That's why
when the 10 tasks have been given on WhatsApp, you need to make an evaluation. Can you do this? Can you not?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Right. So just that is the management giving you the task or the principal giving you the task, right?
Okay, ma'am.
No, I'm asking you, Amarnath.
No, no, no. It might be from anywhere, ma'am. From the colleagues, from the management, from the principal, from HODs, from students. See,
You have
we
to
may
understand.
receive.
Yeah, see, you have to understand is how are you going to prioritize the tasks? If you have principal, management, principal, colleagues, students, you have 4
Hello?
types.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
what is more important? First, the management task.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello?
So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
need to know whom to prioritize first
Hello?
and how to do
Okay.
that effectively.
Okay.
See, students will ask doubts, but student is not important. First, the management is important, right?
Hello?
No, ma'am. As a lecturer, student should be important, ma'am.
Otherwise, you don't have a job, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So who is paying you first? Though the student is paying the money, the management is the one who's giving you your salary.
If student is not there, no, then college will not be there, no.
That's the management problem. That's none of your business.
Okay, ma'am. Then
The
this
management is giving
topic
you
is
the job.
out of.
No. Please,
See, I'm
you
asking you
should
how to
not-
manage, ma'am, but you are asking just follow the management like that, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. No problem.
No. See, Mr. Amarnath, I think you're getting it wrong. I understand students are important. I will die for the students. Please remember that. Okay. There are times when I have not gone against, but I have stood very strongly for my students against the management. Okay. I am there for the students. But first, when you're a professional, you can't get emotional. You are now trying to weigh the importance of management versus student. I will say, first write down, if you understand what I'm saying, Amarnath. First,
Okay, ma'am.
management has given me this task, principal has given me this task, colleagues have given me this task, students have given me this task. Now you have a list
Yes,
of
ma'am.
tasks here, right? Even on an Excel sheet, you can do this. So in all these tasks, which is the burning issue that you have to deal with immediately? Suppose if it is the student's point, which is important, you mark that as number 1 and intimate the same to the colleagues or to the principal or to the management saying, I am first finishing this task, because you have to inform again. No, it's not your decision. The college is not yours. So you have to inform them, I am doing this. See, what is the teaching diary, which we don't follow in colleges? A teaching
Okay,
diary is telling the management or the principal, what is it? How have you spent your time for the college? So you
Yes,
also
ma'am.
have to reciprocate to them and tell them, I am on this task, sir. Once I finish this, I will do this, then I will do this. You make your planner, inform them. That is a professional. You're getting emotional saying,
Actually,
I
no.
am
Actually, I'm
committing
doing
to the
in the
management, not
same
the
way,
student.
ma'am. Just
Pardon?
I want to check whether I'm doing the same way, ma'am. Just I want to check whether I'm doing right or wrong.
Okay. What is it
Actually,
that
I'm
you do,
doing in the
Amarnath?
same because some task may be done at that moment. Some tasks may take 2 or 3 days. So I have
Yes.
to prioritize. I'm doing in that
But
way only, but I'm just checking out whether I'm doing right or wrong. Because you are
see,
the
you are doing, Amarnath,
person
you're
who
doing it
come
rightly.
across.
Yeah, you're doing it rightly, Amarnath, but you also have to inform the management what you're doing, right?
Sure, sir, sure. I'm doing that, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, because as a principal, even for me, when I delegate a task to my staff, I expect
Definitely,
them
you
to
will.
tell me what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you
Yes,
are
ma'am.
dealing with the students, it's very good. I will be happy, no?
Mm.
But if you don't
Yes, ma'am.
inform,
Thank you, ma'am.
because see, I'm not talking about you, but generally in India, we don't report to what we are doing to the higher authorities immediately. When asked for, we say, yes, sir, the job is done. But if
Yes.
there is a two-way interaction between the management and you, the principal and you, there will never be a problem. You won't face this problem if you are having a two-way communication.
Yes, ma'am.
And the decisions have to be by the management and the principal. So you tell them, this is my priority, these are the tasks, I will do this, then this, then this. If they say, don't do this first, you have to oblige.
Yes, ma'am.
Because management is important, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that also problem. Yes, ma'am.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other participants,
Someone was
please?
asking me about how to control anger. Now, if you look at anger, why are we angry? There are two types of anger. One, it is your swabhavam. You get angry for everything. So there are just people who are angry all the time for no reason. In psychology, we were talking about two types of anger, but when I came to dermatoglyphics, when I started doing the fingerprint analysis, there I started understanding a whole different psychology where those who are instinctively angry by nature are people who have target round chakram, no? Which is not like a spiral, but it is target, round, concentric circles. So people with those kind of fingerprints, you can look at your own fingerprints. So if you're angry, you will understand, is it my nature? Or two, is it the situation because of others? Again, it will be the three types which I focused on in my presentation. Is it me, myself, which is the problem? Is it because they are making me angry? Or is it the situation that is making me angry? So anger can come from any way. Anger which is instinctive is very tough to control. So looking at that, perspectives have to change. Suppose if the lady who gave me that anger question can give me one incident of anger. Jyotsna.
Yeah. No, madam, if anyone do something mistake, then immediately, or mainly due to in family only, not a job, not in profession.
Okay, in personal life. Okay.
Yeah, in personal life.
So in personal life, you are getting angry only because you have some expectation of your family members and they are not fulfilling those expectations, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So have you told them, don't do this, this is what I expect? Have you communicated that to them?
Yes. Communicated, madam.
Okay. So in spite of communication, they are disregarding your expectation.
Yes.
Okay. Then I will ask you, the expectation that you gave of them, is it something that they can control or it is their brain which is making them do what they're doing?
Their brain is doing whatever they are doing.
Yes. So when it is their nature, can you change nature?
No, that's what.
So what I would suggest for you is reduce the expectation, increase the acceptance.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So when you accept them and say, okay, this person is going to be like this only,
Yes.
then why will you get angry? Because your anger is disrupting your mental peace, but the situation there is not in your control. So do not look at those situations. I mean, is it something that is dangerous which can affect your whole family life?
No, not like that.
Okay, just small things.
Yeah, small things.
Yeah, I would say just walk away from there. Don't look at those situations. See how the other person can see. You're telling that person something, they're not listening to you. So maybe you can change the way you present that information because you're a teacher. You need to educate other people, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
This is a challenge for you to communicate to that person to think from your perspective.
Yes.
Rather than telling them to do what you want them to do. See, these are very subtle. If you give me specific, I can give you specific answers. But I think in this group, because it's personal, I don't know how free you are in expressing that.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever you given me, no, it's I should follow that. That's the thing. I have to do it because.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am. That is only I'm trying to follow.
Good. Because see, sometimes with other people, they won't change. You can't change. They can't change.
Yeah.
So why expect something from them which they cannot do, and focus on something which is more productive and useful to you?
Yes.
You have to train your brain because your brain can't change, no?
Yeah,
so you
yes,
have to
ma'am.
train your brain to look elsewhere, to look at something which is more useful, more productive, something which is personally satisfying, because you are thinking about the family.
Yes, ma'am.
They are only thinking about themselves.
Yes. Okay, ma'am.
So I think we need to start becoming more selfish.
Yes.
Because you can only take care of yourself. You cannot take care of everybody else. If they want to be taken care of, they should come and ask. But you want to give without them even asking. Yes or no?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Some in some issues, not
And,
in all.
Is this with regard to your parents or spouse?
Spouse, not spouse, madam. It's a sibling.
Sibling, okay. Because siblings invariably will have the same gene you have, no, in different combination.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you will see a mirror of yourself there.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes.
Okay. Okay.
Any
Okay.
other question, madam?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Oh.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. There was some other question in the chat.
Yes, ma'am. Can I please read out?
Ma'am,
ma'am?
how
Hello?
can you please
Hello?
share the
Hello?
experience of psychologists related to students, elders, families? Okay. As a psychologist, it's a long journey. First, I would say that being a psychologist was only a dream for me. I didn't think I will be a psychologist because I failed in my 9th standard. I was always in sports and games. I never thought of studies. I just took a degree because I didn't want to get married. So I did my PG to escape from marriage. When I got married, I came to Kakinada. After coming here and I had nothing else to do, I joined a school as a pastime. Then I started upgrading my knowledge. Then I just went in because my daughter went to school, I went to school, and then I worked and built on myself. And slowly, Kakinada has taught me a lot. It has taught me how to be a professional. It has taught me how to grow. It has taught me competitive nature. So I think if I was in Bangalore, I would have just been one stupid housewife, I think. I mean, I won't say stupid, but you know, that same old routine kind of task. But coming here, there is, people have taught me a lot here. Talking to people, initially, I was not so good at counseling because we only had academic skills. Like all of you all, what we learn from our college and whatever PG and PhDs we do is only about academic theoretical stuff. But when it comes to practical application, it's something else. So I joined the Police Family Counseling Center as a volunteer. I started getting clients. I opened my clinic. Different people came in. I never made a mistake, but I would say what everybody else is saying. So as a psychologist, you know, it's the routine stuff. You Google, you know everything about it. So then what makes me different? So I started specializing in different issues. And today, I mean, I was good at counseling till I was 50 years old. When I was 50 years old, I got hold of this fingerprint analysis. And from then applying that 30 years of counseling skills with the 6 years of dermatoglyphic analysis has made me super. So today I understand as a psychologist that when we are designed in the mother's womb, I didn't express too much on that. I can elaborate it now. We are all designed in the mother's womb. That is the factory where we were produced. Now the mother's thoughts, her nutrition, her health, her diet, all that is our environment. Now that 9 months in the mother's womb is a revolutionary period for us in making who we are. So we are manufactured in the mother's womb. Once we are born, the fingerprints are fixed, the brain is fixed. And from there on, we look at the world through our brain program or the brain design. This psychology didn't teach me. This dermatoglyphics taught me. So in this past 6 years has been transformational for me because I'm able to look inside a brain rather than look at outside. Psychology has taught me all the theories on how to look from outside. But now, today, I'm able to look from inside. So anyone who gives me their fingerprints for the past 6 years, 6 years that I have been practicing fingerprint analysis, I have all their fingerprints with me under custody. So whenever anyone has a problem, it could be even, you know, long back, 2 years back, client who came to me will, you know, just call up and say, I have a problem with my career planning. I will again look at the fingerprint and give them options. So that is the power of the fingerprint analysis, which is directly related to the brain and how we think. Yes, experiences with specific cases. Sure, I'm coming to that. So I have broadly categorized the kinds of cases that I will take. And the first and foremost is parenting, because right from when a child is born till they come to maybe 13 years or 10 years, 11 years, parenting plays a major issue. Then because that is our nurturance, how we are growing up. Then comes the teenage phase, which is very traumatic, risk-taking phase in our life. So a teenage was one part of the chunk that I dealt with. Then about how to plan for your career, what education to take and what career to choose. Then comes marriage, because love and marriage is something that is all intermingled. Now the age is not becoming a criteria. Then comes career planning and how to become successful in life. Then it talks about middle age and growing old gracefully. So these are the lifespan stages that we go through. First and foremost, when you look at parenting, today, I think in this group, there is a wide range of children that you all have, from small toddlers to teenagers. When you look at small toddlers, I believe that parenting should be like this. When you're young, you are very disciplined. You are not given freedom. As you grow older into a teenager, you're given more freedom. But what we do as individuals today is we do this. We give the child total freedom. The child says, I want this, it's done. I want that toy, it's done. I won't wear this dress, it's done. So the child is learned to make independent decisions as he grows up. When he comes to a teenage phase, he says, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Come at this time, don't go there, these friends are wrong. So you are inhibiting them. And this is where they break. Even if you look at the students in your colleges, most of them have a problem because of parenting problem. They don't know whether they are good parents or bad parents. At that stage, every good parent also is considered to be a bad parent, because teenage phase is where they want to search for their identity. And when they're searching for identity to know who they are, it is the parents saying, you can't do this, don't do this. So they feel put down. Then they come to college, and as faculty members, what do? You also put restrictions. Where have you, maybe you have, but generally I'm talking about, where have you given them a chance to express their personal thoughts? Where have you given them a chance to express and, grow, flourish? Even in this group, I've just given you all a chance to talk, but the faculty members, other than a few, did not express, because this is the way we have been parented. This is the way we have been educated. I was also like this. It was very difficult for me to lift my hand and ask a question. So when I joined the B.Ed college, I started with Vidyavan College of Education. There I realized that every student, every teacher trainee does not have the ability to stand up and talk. If they are a teacher, then the first thing that they have to know is to express. But our education system is saying, shut up and listen to me. So our education needs to open up a little more, needs to allow the child to think more. We are not allowing people to think. Even today, this session, this is a good example for me. Y'all are thinking, but you're not expressing. Otherwise, Mr. Ramakrishna says, don't give them a chance to think, you keep talking. Now, if I keep talking, you will learn, definitely. But if you don't express, you won't grow. So the more people talk, the more you express, the more you grow. See, I am a person who loves to take opportunities. So you've given me an opportunity, I have an audience, I'll talk. See, I'm taking this opportunity, but when I gave you the opportunity, except for a few, others are silent. Now, why are you silent? Because why unnecessarily expose myself? Why talk? I don't know what this group will do. If I talk, what will they think? So these are all self-restrictions that we are keeping on ourselves. So what about an engineering college? You find that the students are also in that same stage where they don't know how to express. So who do they express to? The opposite sex. So that's why today you have more love stories. Because some stupid guy is willing to listen to all my problems, or some stupid girl is willing to make me feel like a hero. So the love stories are increasing not because they love each other, but because they are communicating to each other. I don't know whether I'm making myself clear to the audience, but today even love stories is only because of dysfunctional families. If that child was happy in the house, the child would express every thought and share every thought with the parent. But today the child has no chance to go home and tell their parents, I spoke to this guy, he said this, I spoke to this girl, she said this. So that is all secret. So our whole lives, we are living behind a mask and we are not expressing who we really are. And that is one thing that I have learned is to open my screen. So when I have nothing to hide, I become brave. I'm not a confident person. You may look at me and think I'm confident, but having analyzed myself, I understand I was born with less confidence, but I have learned to build my confidence with achievement. So all of us need to work on who we are. We don't need to look at anyone else around us, but only look at what am I? How am I to grow? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? That should be the focus of our life. So if you look at parenting today, small children, for people in the group who have small children, it's very important that you give them discipline, to give them values, to make them learn to wait, because we are teaching our children to get what they want immediately. We are becoming impatient. So, teaching them patience and discipline is the ultimate. If they'll know how to wait to get what they want, they are a success in life. Because most of us want things immediately. If you don't get it, you get emotional or you get angry. And if you see the spiral kind of fingerprints, they are the people who will either spiral down into depression or spiral up into elation. So understanding the brain, there is people going up and down in their mood swings. Learning how to balance it. Learning not to get influenced by others. Learning to become self-dependent, self-reliant is a turning point in your life. So there are a lot of cases where, people have come with, have adopted for learning online program. Yes, technically, see, we have learned to use technology, but we have not changed our style of teaching. We are using technology with the same lecture method. Mr. Ramakrishna had just put on the chat. We would like to listen to your experiences with specific cases that you've come across as a psychologist, sure. And today, particularly during the pandemic situation, it seems that the students have adapted for learning through online platforms. When the situation comes to normal, will the students' interest to learn from regular classroom teaching? It will reduce. Even today, are they really listening to you? If you ask me to talk and talk and talk, won't you feel like sleeping? That is why I ask you to talk. Mr. Ramakrishna, students do not like to listen before the pandemic, after the pandemic, during the pandemic. They are doing it because of attendance. We need to change the way we teach. We need to include the students. Mr. Amarnath was saying he really loves the students. So if you really love the student, what unique way of teaching have you done to make all the students think? It's not just a few students. See, because when you have a classroom of students, the basic philosophy is that you will have a normal probability curve. Very low, very dull, very intelligent, and the average students. So a good teacher is one who's able to deal with all the students, deal with them and take them together with certain skills, empower all of them, knowing how to give tasks to the gifted students by giving them challenging work, teaching the basic concepts to the slow learners, and the average students also being able to go forward. So that is who a faculty is. So are you, I'm asking every faculty in this group, have you been able to take the group, the entire group of classroom together with you? Have you empowered each and every student in your class? But today, especially in the college, because in schools we still have to do that because that's expected of a teacher. But when it comes to being a lecturer, it is like, I come lecture and go, you listen, otherwise you don't. Because today colleges are, they're all in a different stage. They're all in the teenage phase, so nobody is willing to listen to me. That is not the answer. You must attract the students to you with your knowledge, with the skills, with your questioning ability, with their ability to make the student think. The lecturers are working very hard. This is my personal view. Lecturers should not work hard. They should be smart. A lecturer has to plan a lesson in such a way that a student has to get instigated with the thinking. That the projects have to be given in such a way that every student works hard to make that lesson beautiful, and not just the teacher giving the information. So it is more about bringing out rather than pouring in. This is my philosophy in life, that you need to elicit, not pour in. And yeah, I don't think students are willing to listen because they've got used to, YouTube. Will he listen to your video recording or will he go to YouTube? He'll prefer a YouTube session. Would he prefer his friend teaching him last minute, or would he prefer the lecturer's videos? He will prefer the students. So somewhere there is a gap in where what the child wants and what the faculty is giving. I mean, then I'll go off into the technical, because here I'm supposed to be talking about stress. But yes, definitely, post-pandemic, students will come to class, but they don't want to listen to a lecture. The teaching techniques have to change. I mean, that's my life of, working in the education scenario. So how to teach, how to instigate the thought process of the student is very, very important. And the other question Mr. Ramakrishna had asked was, what are your case studies of, different students? Basically, based on the fingerprints, I also started a tuition center just before this pandemic, where it's not a commercial venture, it's more like a research center, where I would do the fingerprint analysis, understand the brain of a child, understand why he needs tuition, and what way he studies, and in which ways can we empower him based on his weak points. So once I know the brain I've done the brain analysis, I know the strength and the weakness of a student. Then how should he change his teaching style in order to function better? If you understand the basic, I didn't give that presentation here because that's more on teaching. First, you have to understand, how does information come into my brain? Suppose it's for your students. If you have to become a better teacher, then you have to understand in what way are you going to reach to the student. So you have people who are very good with their auditory. All those who get maximum scores, marks in the exams are people who are auditory learners, because they listen, they don't study, they don't work hard, they go to the exam hall and reproduce from their black box, and answer is on the paper. But you have the visual who will not listen, but who will read the notes, look, make points, or look at the notes, read it and learn. And there is a third category, which is the kinesthetic kind, who have to make points. So no matter how much the teacher teaches, how much he looks in the book, unless he makes notes and organizes the information based on his brain, then he's able to study for the exam. I would like to ask all the faculty here, have you ever questioned the students on how they learn? Have you given them techniques on how to memorize and learn a lesson effectively? Because that is the crux. Yes, number of students. Over the years, it is observed the number of students involved in the interaction during classwork is reduced. Is it the problem from the teacher side or student side or the education system? In fact, that particular teacher is gaining more experience in teaching the subject. He should be able to teach with more examples and with more knowledge. See, here again, you're using the word teach. Understand the psychology of students today. They do not want to be taught. It is the truth. So as a faculty member, if you are here trying to give them something, they are not willing to take it. So you must know how to tempt them, tease them, bring them out. So it is like how you would attract a boyfriend would attract a girlfriend. There is a way in which you throw the bait, how you go fishing. You have to learn to attract. So the students should come to you like a magnet through small questions, small empowering suggestions, where the child feels that that lesson is not so difficult. But most of the time, the students who come there don't know why they're studying engineering. And if they come to class, they don't know why that subject is there. They don't have an orientation to why they should study the subject. Then they're listening to the teacher who's teaching about a subject, and then they miss some classes in the middle. So there is no connect. So in the whole process, this whole system has gone, education system. I won't blame teacher or the student. I will say the education system is still outdated. We need to upgrade the education system. 1. 2, the teachers, if you are smart, you're teaching the same curriculum from so many years, same syllabus, same chapters. What if you make good presentations of those chapters and keep it ready where you can just share that information, where the basic information goes into their brain. Then you give them questions and small projects and presentations, quizzes, different kinds of activities, projects like that to make them, and make sure that, again, like you said, marks oriented is more forceful. But if it is like a challenge, like if you see Big Boss today, everybody is hooked onto it. Why? There is an attractive quality to it. So if you can make your class like a Big Boss activity where you can use your students, it's so wonderful, where you can use one student against the next and keep empowering each student in every class. So you have group activity. All the students today in college want to show off, want to dress up, they're scared, but it's only a matter of time where they learn how to express. So if you teach them how to express in productive ways, that classroom scenario itself will change. I mean, see, for me, teaching is my passion and my profession. So I love teaching. So you have to design some different way in which the lesson is actually implemented. You can actually, when you're having programs like this, you can actually have competitions for the faculty, especially in the pandemic time, trying to say who will give the best idea. So in this faculty, all of you have so much of capabilities, but you have locked your brain in going into that system, that same old stream. And we are again going according to our education system. We need to break those boundaries, think differently. We are all creative. Where is the creativity in us? The syllabus, the curriculum is stagnant, it's dormant, it doesn't change. But the way in which you present it can change. So if we can work on that kind of presentation change, definitely students will be attracted to you. You can become one of the best lecturers. You can get awards. I don't know how far colleges are giving incentives to how good the teacher is, evaluating the teacher's performance. See, students have come there, they want to learn, but they want somebody to tempt them into learning. But if you go and give them information, they don't want to take it. This is the truth. I mean, I'm very frank, but that is the truth. So there are different ways in which you can have an interactive session rather than a one-way session. Suicides is another big issue in colleges. I don't know if you all have those cells, but even if you have the counseling cells, I don't know how far the student would go and confess, because today people are trying to escape from the problem. Rather than escaping, you should teach them to face situations. So this should be a part of the lecturers, the faculty members' plan and design in their own personal life. And only when they implement it in their life can they be role models to their students. So even you all should learn how to be more proactive, more expressive, learning how to face your failure. In your sessions with the students also, take about 5 minutes of your time to talk about real life situations. Take a little psychology class. Every faculty needs to, tell the student, communicate to the student that we are there for you, we understand you. I am a lecturer to you now, but I'm also a human being. Whenever you have a problem, you can always connect to me. You know, that green signal out there saying I'm there for you is very, very important, because a person who commits suicide, I'm sure, you know, you would have seen cases in colleges, especially all the IITs and all have more of suicide cases in colleges because of the pressure. Really seeing, I don't think our engineering colleges are so pressurized as compared to IITs. But you know, the public pressure, the peer pressure is very strong there. So even here, each one their own level of stress. But when a person is going through this, you know, I'm fit for nothing, I have no other option, you have to understand that any problem can be looked at in 360-degree scenario. But a person who is going to commit suicide will only think of one option, will think of this, knock down all the other options and only think of one option. And that one option, the door is closed. So the person feels there is no need to live because there is no future. I'm going to get avamana. People are going to, you know, look down on me, condescend on me. I'm a failure. I'm a waste candidate. I can't do this. So a lot of negativity. And that is the reason most of them commit suicide. One. There are two, the impulsive kind, who just go and do it without even thinking. So colleges are very, very important places for suicide prevention. So empowering your students on, you know, different aspects of life also is very important. Invariably, student community will have stress and want to commit suicide if one, home condition is not good. That means parents are harassing them or talking negatively to them. 2, love failure. 3, academic stress. These are the only main reasons that people commit suicide in colleges. So academic stress is in your control. Make sure that you don't put too much unexpected pressure on them, but what is based on their capabilities. You need to be allowing them to express, talk, and share their views. And the parenting, you know, you have sometimes, you know, bad environment at home, abusive father, sexual abuse, which they can't talk about by some family member, the mother who is overly critical and, you know, constantly all the time talking negatively to them. And this is the reason why most of them fall in love. So the biggest issue today in suicides is also because of love failure. Because they think that is the end of the world and there is no one else for me but this boyfriend or girlfriend, and that's the end of my life. So I think making friends is also something that has to be taught in the colleges. They don't know how to make friends. Nobody teaches them. Friendship, what is friendship? Today you love somebody. I would like to just tell you this brief before I conclude with this. I'll give you time. Why do people fall in love? I mean, this is also, I wanted to do a PhD on this. If you understand the basic psychology, when people are not, from the girl's point of view, let's deal with that. The girl is always been looked at with the magnifying glass by the mother, because she'll say, you're like this, don't do this, don't do this. And, you know, too many rules, restrictions by the mother, and the father pampering, or the father also being strict, whatever. So the girl at the time of teenage phase wants some sort of recognition, because identity is being developed there. But there the mother is negative, because the mother is for the good of the child, but she's not looking at what the child needs. She's looking at what the child needs, but not looking at what the child wants. So what the child wants is love and affection, someone to talk to. At that time, the attraction is towards the opposite sex, and they get deviated there. That boy who has nothing else to do will spend hours together and listen to all the rubbish she says and saying, ayo papam, ayo papam. So what happens? She connects to him. But actually, it is not loving the boy, but loving the way the boy is giving attention to her. She loves that feeling of someone loving her, but she doesn't see the boy as a boy. It's only when they get married that she understands she doesn't love the boy. This they won't understand. They just love somebody to talk to them nicely, empower them, listen to them, understand their feelings. This is from the girl's perspective. From the boy's perspective, invariably it is again the mother. I think I always come back to the mother. When a boy does not, a man or a boy is pampered by the mother, but not having access to the father. So he develops the ability to use his mother to get to the father. If he wants money, through mommy to daddy. So what happens? He learns to escape. He learns to be behind and get what he wants. So he's not been taught from childhood to be like a man, to take a responsibility. So here what happens? He will again woo a girl through his friends, through somebody. It is like, you want to show your he-manship, but you don't know how to attract a girl. So he'll use different means and attract the girl. 24 hours, he's only listening to her. I love you, I love you. So what is happening to this guy? He's not focused on useful stuff, but he's focused on diverting stuff. So he's also a waste, because afterwards he realizes even if he marries that girl, what is he left with? After they get married, she'll say, where is the money? What are we going to live on? Finally, he has to come to the realization that he has to work, he has to stand strong, he has to be independent, which he is not. So today, love and love failures are mainly because parenting should also change. I know it's very tough because children don't listen to their parents, but why do they not listen? Because they were never connected in the first place. And at the teenage phase, you must listen to your children. Even you as faculty members, listen to your students. Make them talk. Whatever rubbish they say, listen. Because somewhere in that listening, you will be healing, you will be treating. Because all of you are psychologists. All of you can reach out to a whole big student population. So, see, studies, no, the student will anyway learn. If you don't teach, he will go to the YouTube and learn. But the ability that you have to be an anchor in that student's life is very, very important. So I think today in this faculty development program, 2 messages that have to go home. 1, you should be a source of power. People should come to you, plug in their device and take power from you. 1. 2, you should be able to give power to others and empower them also. Because everybody has dreams. We need to achieve our dreams and we need to facilitate other people to achieve their dreams. Let us not enter into other people's boundaries, but be within our boundary, but open the doors when people need to walk in. I know it's a big dream of mine, but teaching has to change. Students have to be understood. If that is the future generation of our country, then I don't know where we are going, because today when you look at the students, they are not focused. They're in the wrong track. We all know, all of y'all are facing the same problem, because we tend to blame the students, saying, they don't have focus. They don't know why they've joined that course. They've just come there by fluke and by luck. They pass the exam somehow by force. They're listening to class, but they're not listening. Yes, education has to change, because everybody needs to become professional, not just you, even the students. They have to stop being students and start thinking professionally. I don't know whether I have, taken too much of your time droning with my experiences and my talk. But since I've been asked to talk, I've been sharing my experiences. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I would love feedback to see whether, it has reached people, whether the faculty liked it. What did you like? What did you disagree with? Meeting is open for.
Hello. Hello.
Any
Are you able to
feedback?
listen to me?
Audible, sir.
Questions?
Audible, sir.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Rishi sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, okay. Any queries from the participants? You can talk to Dr. Vijayalakshmi Madam. Hello.
28 participants
If
left.
you don't have queries, if you don't have any queries, we'll wind up the session. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi Madam.
Thank you so
Hello.
much for giving me this opportunity. I don't know whether I have reached to them because there is only silence in the audience. I don't like the Zoom meetings for the reason that I can't talk and interact with my audience. I hope soon we'll have live sessions rather than this. But
Definitely, Madam.
thank you so much.
We have enjoyed your session, particularly this type of interactive session. Definitely, we will look forward to utilize your counseling services for our students in future. Thank you very much for your acceptance to take part in this induction program and deliver a lecture on it, particularly on this topic, which is prime important at this particular situation. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we will stop the session here. For the afternoon session, we have Dr. D. Lakshmi Narayana Garu, a retired scientist from DRDO. And I request you all to join by 1:45 p.m. Thank you all. Rishi sir, you can stop the session.